Hello, beautiful people again. We are here, Euthanasia Part 2 with the lovely Abby Dagnese. Description box has her information to click on. And also she's going to be channeling my lovely son, Erik Medhus. All right. So question number 7 from all of our questions from our wonderful community. Do our souls, I don't know why I told you it was question 7, who the hell cares? Anyway, do our souls have to return and experience the same karmas again if we choose to exit this life prematurely, say through euthanasia?
He's saying it's whatever your force depicts it wants it to replay. So when we look at karma, it's not a punishment.
No,
You know,
it's a rebalancing.
It's an
Energetic rebalancing,
opportunity.
right?
Yeah, he's saying it's really an opportunity, a missed opportunity for you to be able to learn and for be able to get what your soul's involvement needed in this cycle. He's saying, so look at it that way.
Yeah.
Versus you're damned if you do and damned if you don't.
And karma's a bitch. No, I know
Yeah.
everybody thinks karma is a punishment, but it's not. It's just coming back to learn the rest of a lesson that you didn't completely learn to improve to progress with your evolution.
Because then we celebrate over here when you reach your karmatic bonds and ties from the past life. We are here and we are just like, bravo, like she did it, they did it, he got through this time, he did it, and when you dispel that energy and let that energy of the karmatic cycle go, he's saying it is such a release to all of us because we all feel each other's vibrational state. And he's saying it really does help the collective as a whole.
Okay. Will the patient who's euthanized face spiritual repercussions? Well, we kind of did that. Is it treated the same as someone who commits suicide? Again, Erik, you said over and over again, a death is the death is the death. And there is no judgment and there is no punishment. So we can go on to the next question, which you probably also have covered. This next question, people, was covered in part 1 toward the very beginning. Maybe Erik, you'll have something to add. Can Erik tell us how this is for animals and pets too? Do they see our intention and agree
to come here in this life, you mean?
He's euthanized.
So yes, because all the soul contracts when they come into this life, he says he's not talking about flies and shit.
Okay.
He's saying
flies. Mosquitoes.
This black fly just landed on my arm. He says,
"Oh wow, that's weird.
I'm glad you finally showed up." He's saying no. He says it's more. He says unless you get stung by a bee, and you're supposed to get stung by a bee in that moment because you're supposed to learn a lesson from it. He says, "Don't play with fucking beehives. That's your lesson."
Okay, that's right.
He's being silly. Sorry.
As usual.
He says, no, really. He says, honestly, your pets have a mutual contract with you to share this time here on this earthly realm for you. He's saying, and how that fits into the equation. He's saying it can be pre-planned. Sometimes, this is kind of cool. He's bringing up how sometimes there's an entrance. This is interesting. He's saying there's an entrance sometimes that happens with pets as they come in as to help you escape your own energy system and your own energy field. So
like Bella coming in and on the board, which is kind of like a Erik Ouija board, it we asked the purpose of Bella and she said here to heal. So yeah, Bella,
he's saying, oh, this is cool. And I just got my spirit bumps going down my body when I was listening to him, because he's saying, with Bella, she was in my last life cycle. She was very much a part of my last life cycle, and she was a part of the family. Yeah. And so
she was Peanut, apparently, or Chihuahua, was she? Yeah, I think so.
He said she's had actually many life already in your lifetime, Mom.
Yeah, right.
She's played out many features in your life in different ways. and you recognize those soul bonds. And that's why pets are so recognizable and we love them so much. Even
Yeah.
the pains in the ass ones. And he's having me picture this like chihuahua that's like biting somebody's face off pretty much. He says chihuahuas are the most vicious.
Oh boy, they are. Peanut was devil dog. No, she was sweet. Do animals prefer their humans to choose an unnatural death for them? I suppose if they want to escape further suffering, right? But you tell me, Eric.
Real quick, he's showing me imagery right now of him running up to this dog and like touching its nose, and the dog's like, ah! runs away. And Eric's like
Okay.
sneaking away, laughing at Sarah. Okay, he liked to freak his pets out. That's cool.
Oh,
Okay. All right, I'm sorry. Gotta get back on track with the question.
oh yeah. Do animals prefer their humans to choose an unnatural death, to euthanize them? I guess, if they're suffering, right? I would
They
assume.
don't just do it because they're suffering. He says they're not always euthanizing them for the right reasons.
Oh.
Another karmatic soul life cycle challenge, developmental skill. He's like, "Bleh, bleh, bleh." Making fun of me. He says really people euthanize on all sorts of levels here. He's like, we're not just talking about, we talk about our pets, we means the ones we love and consider family. We talk about whole herds of cattle. Does one get attention when there's a couple thousand or 1,000? No.
What are you talking about, Eric?
He's talking about like he's showing me a whole bunch of like herds of animals and how people just kill them. They euthanize them for all kinds of things, for money,
for beef, for leather,
resources. Right. So we're talking about all different forms of euthanasia,
okay.
not just with our pets and with people, but we euthanize animals in general, not because we're even trying to be humane sometimes, because that's their purpose. Because that's their purpose. That's their purpose being served.
Right. Well, what about pets then? Do they choose to be for us to euthanize them if they're suffering? Do they prefer that?
Yes, they do.
Okay. Maybe you could ask Dr. Jack Kevorkian for his perspective on euthanasia.
I was feeling him here earlier.
Oh, really? He knew it was on the questions, I guess.
Yeah, I was hearing Erik talking, and there was this man here with him, and I could feel him, and I was like, "What is that?" No. Okay. So, can you repeat the question again, Elisa?
Yeah, just what's Jack Kevorkian's perspective on the topic of euthanasia? Just really briefly.
It's a very humanistic thought process to consider murder. He's saying, again, it has to do with karmatic bonds coming into this lifetime, what we were able to expunge on our own and release and let go versus what we choose and how we want to die. He's saying euthanasia is a form and a concept that's not socially accepted, of course.
Yeah.
It still isn't, and we'd be kidding ourselves if it was.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of processes that we have to let go here, and one of them is the ability to always fix, and accepting the inability of what the terms are of the contract and of the arrangement and of the agreement. And Erik's saying, yes, very profound.
Yeah, that's so true. We need to get over the need to fix everything. That's certainly perfect. And we also need to come to the realization that a death is the death is the death. And it's inevitable for all of us. We ain't getting out of this alive, people. All right, next question. When a family member pulls the plug on a loved one, has a person already gone to the other side before this? Or do they, when they're brain dead, let's say, or do they go once they're disconnected from life support? Where is the soul while in life support? I had to take my husband off life support February 2022 and was wondering this. So, I'm sure sometimes they are on the other side, or at least mostly.
It depends. It depends on the whole soul contract.
Yeah.
It depends on what the soul had arranged to agree upon to feel in the experience of passing. He is showing me this woman standing next to a bed and this man behind her just holding her as they release the vessel, the body,
Right.
you know, and really the crossing already had happened.
Yeah.
He already purposely, purposely and unpurposely, transitioned. What we hold on to is merely what we're focusing on, and it depends on your focus on that. You
Yeah.
can decide how you want, depending on what you need to learn in the life cycle. He says how it's gonna fucking go.
Yeah. I guess euthanasia, I mean, would you consider if somebody's brain dead and on life support, when you disconnect them from the machines, would that be considered euthanasia? Or just unplugging because the person's essentially dead?
No, he's saying no, unplugging is a form of letting go as a human, your instinct to be able to control.
Yeah.
Because if they're at that point where that's where it's going, that's where their physical is taking them. So you're just allowing versus prolonging. He says it's really a question of what you find more humane for your loved one,
Yeah.
and how you're going to cope with that. How is this? It's really more about how your letting go process begins. But just remember, it's not really letting go. It's letting go of the physical.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So this might be the same person. Is there a way to know if it's okay with the almost departed person if they've never spoken about this before? Like, if I'm in this situation, unplug me. I mean, it's a hard question because she says, or he, there have been situations when people were at minutes from crossing and they miraculously healed against any prediction. And in many cases, these people served a purpose, bringing back witness and knowledge from the other side. So maybe it's a case by case situation here, but is there any way to find out? I guess you go to a medium and ask, right? Channel them when they're almost, channel the almost departed person.
I love what he's saying right now.
Okay.
He is saying, how could you put that on somebody else? Maybe you don't need a
Oh,
medium, asking somebody for you could, and
okay. Yeah.
if somebody is willing to let you, he says, gosh, that would be a hard one. Imagine going up to a medium, and maybe a
Oh,
lot of people
no.
have. Comment if you
Oh, yeah.
have.
So you can use divination tools yourself, like pendulum.
You
All that.
use, and that's what he wants to say right now is think about the signs that you get every day that you miss, and think about when you're trying to make a really big decision and you might even just shout out, like not even expecting it, show me a sign, show me a sign. He says the signs are there. You'll get the signs, you'll get cues, feeling. He's like, have this feeling come over my body right now, a physical feeling. Sometimes it's just far too traumatic and you can't make the decision alone.
Yeah.
He says they'll help you make the distinction of whether or not, and he's talking about your doctors and such, about whether or not it's time. Ultimately, it's not your choice. And that's what he wants to make really clear too, is that even though what you think is your choice is not always your choice, it's actually that soul's choice and
Right.
that connection with you. And you're hearing that because you're in such a state of grief and process that you're not recognizing it as the loved one or the being. You're thinking it's merely just you, and you try so hard, he says, to think about and make the decision for them and what they'd really ultimately want.
I very often taken the burden off of people. I say, would you like me to make the decision for you? And they're like, please, yes.
Yeah, and you've had to do that, Elisa?
Oh, many times, many times. And they were all very obvious cases. Okay. The person were just suffering so badly. I mean, I euthanized my
He's
own
going Dr. Kevorkian over here.
I euthanized my own father because I think my sister, she liked to do fecal disinfections on him all the time. And I think she busted something. And so he bled into his retroperitoneal cavity. And he was in such pain. And they were just pumping units of blood, units of blood, units of blood. And he was screaming in pain constantly. He was in hospice. And I told the nurses, just give him as much, Ativan as it takes to get rid of the pain. And he will have a respiratory arrest and die, but do it. And he died.
He's really glad you're bringing this up because he wanted to bring that up earlier. He was like starting to bring that up, and he was starting to bring up everything you just said, right? They call it the what is it, the nurse's dose,
Yeah.
right, of medication. And he's saying that too could be considered, right? Euthanasia.
It is.
When really it's a very humanistic way to go. It's care, it's love. And no, he's not saying go out and murder people because you love them. It's more when we're talking about a very serious topic. He says, when they're in hospice and there's these conditions, these outlying conditions, and for humans, that it's just not, because you're connecting with their emotionality, you're connecting. He says it's really the fear of judgment that makes it so we're not talking about these things more, about what's the more, and when you get behind closed doors, he says these topics are discussed in really wonderful ways, to help you cope with the thought process of how that process works.
Right.
And it's out of the intricacies of development and with medicine that they have the ability to do these things that are very humane.
God.
Yeah.
I had a guy with terminal colon cancer, HB Parks. I loved him so much. And he was in such pain. And I said, would you like me to hurry things along? Because he had just days left. Yes, please. And the nurse agreed to just, I said, give him morphine until the pain is gone. And it worked. All right,
great thing.
Yeah. The nurse is dope. My mother-in-law is in a nursing home where she has just been given pain medications and has not eaten in over a week. She is nonverbal now, so I don't know her thoughts. But last week she said she just wants to go home to the Lord. If this was our pet, we would do the humane thing. Will we ever get to a point when we can sign a paper that states we want to be put to rest? If so, and when would this, and would there be massive karma? We already discussed that, but yeah, will there be a point where a person can actually have legal rights to let themselves go in any circumstances?
No.
Not in the near future.
Not in the near future, not anytime soon.
Okay.
Yeah, it's too much political, too much society. It's too much, like not anytime soon.
Okay, maybe for the most terminal cases eventually, but and it isn't already some countries.
It's already been happening.
Yeah, yeah.
He says
all cases, like
every state in every country all over the world, there are cases that are so extreme, and so in the way they do it, it's so he says really beautiful.
Yeah. But in the case of an old person, I'm done, man. That's probably going to be a while. Just
he's saying honestly, in the case of a younger person too, like that woman that we brought up that I was talking to you in the last series, she was very like, it really wasn't going to get better for her. And it was at the point where she asked, oh, this is so cool. I'll tell you, I forgot about this. She asked for a sign that morning that it was her time to go, that this was the best day that she had picked. That morning, she had the worst, she's coming through to me right now. This is so cool. She had the worst seizure she's ever had, ever. It was by far the worst one. She says, and that was my sign.
All right. After our beloved pets have been euthanized, what are their thoughts on the other side? Do they have an understanding of why they were helped to go home? And well, ask that question first. Just real quickly, we're running out of time.
We get the choice. We get the choice to choose. Yeah. For that.
Okay. After we euthanize them and they're on the other side, did they usually say thank you? Or wait, I wasn't finished yet. What are their thoughts? Usually.
We're using a human terms of condition for our pets, Erik says.
Yeah.
Our pets are not processing these things as we are. They're seeing our emotionality. They're feeling our emotionality. So when we're walking into a vet's office, they're feeling the heavy. They're feeling the sad. and they're smelling and they're the sensations. They don't know, hey, you're gonna walk in there and die.
I know. But when they're on the other side, what are their thoughts?
Very sad and very scared and very upset, and they don't feel good. And that is it. And then he says, and then it's lights out. And it's just really about the love that they feel for you. It's really about, and
Yeah.
he's showing me my bun buns the third.
Oh, okay. Well, what about when they're on the other side? Their thought process must change after they're on the other side, right? Then what do they think?
He's saying again, you're processing it as, he says, watch the movie Marley and Me, Ma.
No, I know I have. It's so sad. But yeah, but what, give me the animal thought in terms of animal thought processing. What are their thoughts?
It's just like that. It's just that simple. He says it's just, it's like they just go to sleep, and when they wake up, they're somewhere else. It's not.
Okay, so they don't think about, wow, I'm so glad I'm not suffering anymore.
No.
Okay,
It's they're free up there, and they go to that place and they think, wow, I'm good. You know?
Okay.
They think that, wow, I'm not good. Where's my treat?
Yeah, do they miss us? I mean,
Well, no, because they can still be with us. They can
oh,
still
okay. So
in
they
our
don't
past.
feel like it's different being on in a different realm?
So they when they come back, it's a very accepting process for pets. It's
Okay.
very accepting of like, oh, here I am again. Here I am
Oh,
now.
okay. All
You
right.
know, okay, I'm here now.
Yeah,
Here I am. I
here's
was here.
here's my mommy. Why isn't she rubbing my tummy?
So our pets have the ability, unlike us, to remember us past lives. So they can remember who they are or who they were. Name changes, people change, their physicals change into other, you know. So I'm like, oh, can a dog be a horse?
Yeah, right.
A dog can be anything they want to be.
Right, exactly.
He says, so really he says it's all about your course of action. It's all about your interest in your pet. And it's really about the love interaction that you feel.
Okay. Now, this may be the girl you've been talking about this whole time, Abby. This is the last question. I would love to ask Erik to bring in Britney Maynard, a 29-year-old from California who moved to Oregon, who, because of her glioblastoma, on November 1st, 2016, she took the infamous pill to end her own life and made headlines with the Right to Die movement.
Yeah. I'm like ready to cry right now.
Oh, is that the person?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
She's here.
Well, does she have any final thoughts for us?
She's saying, thank you for taking me into consideration. Thank you for being open to me and my thought processes and my concepts. I was love. It was all about love. Love surrounded me. It did take it into my own hands to advance my movement because I chose to. I needed to have the right. And I believe other people should as well when they're in my circumstances, when they're surrounded by the people they love or unsurrounded about the people they love.
Yeah.
I very much, this was a life contract for me to bring the movement ahead, to bring it ahead of the game so I could resolve my own karmatic issues with the whole situation.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you, Abby. Thank you, Erik. And thank you, Brittany. Sorry, I forgot your first name. This was very enlightening. You guys make sure you go back and watch part 1 if you have not. And check out Abby Dagnese in the description box below. And also be sure you follow on TikTok because we're going to do some TikTok lives together. It's so fun. Maybe it'll work this time.
I hope so.
All right. Love you guys. Love you, Erik.
He says, bye, mama.
Bye-bye.